Yeah, and we go from politics to public safety. Our conversation for this hour is about NAFDAC shutting down 11,000 shops dealing on illicit drugs. The Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has justified its recent crackdown on fake drugs across the country and dismissed claims that the organization was against businesses. NAFDAC's recent crackdown on fake drugs has seen it raiding markets and shops where these substances were discovered. It triggered condemnation, with some accusing the agency of unfairness and targeting non-drug sections of some markets. But NAFDAC's Director General, Mojísọ́lá Adéyẹyẹ, has dismissed the allegations and hinged the organization's the organization's action on safeguarding the health of the nation. In one of the raided warehouses, she showed how expired drugs are repackaged. We're going to have to play that in a bit because it forms the foundation of our conversation. Oh yes, here it is.
This is anti-malaria, artemether lumefantrine, empty packets that are going to be filled with whatever. And somebody will have malaria and they said it's malaria and died. So these packages, what my director is telling me now, these packages showed the expiration. And they will have counterfeited the new packages and put expired drugs in new packages. So when you buy, you will say it's 2027, but it has expired.
Okay. So you heard the director. This is unsettling, not just for Nigerians, but for humanity, because life is directly connected to it. But it's also the epic battle between public health and business interests, because while NAFDAC is doing what it feels it needs to, there's a pushback from people saying, well, you're targeting businesses. And I don't understand the rationale behind that position. But this conversation needs to happen. My guest is pharmacist Anele Promise. He's the chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria right here in River State, and he joins me live in the studio. Good day, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure. How are you doing?
Thank God.
Okay, so in regular Nigerian fashion, we'll have all the greetings from the last time we met. So it's Happy New Year, Happy Valentine, Happy last year.
Same to you.
Happy. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so I touched on this topic yesterday. It was one of my big stories. And what I found difficulty in coming to terms with was the figure. And I had to check multiple news sources. I had to check the video of the DG speaking, just to be sure that it's not a mistake. 11,000 shops in one country, 11,000 different businesses, or maybe one person has 4 or 5 shops, but 11,000 shops shut down across the country. So I'll have to ask: are the figures accurate, or is it an exaggeration?
All right, thank you so much for having me. If I may just go straight to the point, why that seems alarming, but I think it's very correct. I can tell you that the proliferation of these shops is unimaginable, and sometimes when you want to come to terms with it, you begin to feel that a lot has gone wrong. That looks alarming, but with my little experience in the state, I can tell you that it's very correct. And in fact, a lot more needs to be closed down.
There are official channels for the procurement of standard medicine. I don't know how it works. If I want to go into the business of selling medicine, the ways to get the standard medicine it's not difficult. It's not rocket science, I'm sure.
No.
So why is there a fake drug market if you can just get the real thing and sell it?
All right, thank you so much. While I was on my way down here, I was trying to listen to you. I even heard something that was also worrisome when you talked about people using detergent.
Yes, for fufu.
For fufu.
Do you eat fufu?
I really don't like it, though. I really don't like it.
Okay.
I prefer Gary.
Okay.
So, but again, what came to my mind was, how bad can things get in this country? Why is it that at every corner, every quarter, people want to cheat? People want to endanger the life of people just to make gain in their attempt. I just shared this before I answer your question. One of those days when we went out to do a task force operation, so We got a woman that is not registered, apparently was selling all manner of things, and the law permits us to confiscate everything that is there.
Okay.
You know, she looked at me and said, "My son, this is where I feed my family." I said, "Madam, you feed your family and kill other people's family members. That's what you're doing here. Because what you're selling here is equivalent to poisoning people out there who do not know the right things to do. You're taking advantage of it." So the channels are not so difficult. There are different classes when it has to do with damage. You have people who import, people who are wholesalers, people who are retailers. The law also provides for patent medicine. Those are the PPMVs. And there are certain regulations and requirements for you to fit into any of these. But you find that this class of people who do this business in the market is not in any of this class. They are not being regulated. And that's why they look for space where they get people. The law does not permit anyone to open a pharmacy-related business in a market. That's the truth. So any pharmacy-related business is inside the market, automatically is illegal. So there are these categories that the law provides, but yet people jump over and jump into the market to do illegal business, and that's their depot. That's where you can find more of the fake and substandard products.
Okay, so we'll have to explain, according to the law that you just quoted, the meaning and context of market. Because I've seen a pharmacy in a supermarket.
Yeah.
I've seen a pharmacy at, I don't know what they call these kinds of stores, but it's a very well packaged, and then they have a drug section. So when it says market, what
Open
kind
market.
of market? Open market.
Yeah. Open market.
If a person, because you know there are different grades of shops in open markets. The example I'll give is a friend of mine many years ago went to Alaba to buy a laptop. And Alaba being Alaba, we saw all kinds. We saw very nice shops and we saw very not nice shops in that same market, right? And there are some shops that, you know, you see them and you're like, these shops do not belong here. If the person packages their shop properly to the standard that is above that market, but they are inside the market,
as long as it's an open market, is not approved. That's what the law says. Because you have issues of overcrowding and all that there. As long as those factors are there, it's not accepted. Open drug market is a no-no. It doesn't matter how well you design the place. It's not accepted.
What does it have against market? Like, why can't it happen in the market? Let's imagine that you are selling standard medicine, not illicit, not fake, not... Why is the market not convenient?
Okay, there are certain conditions to be able to practice or sell medicine.
Okay.
Environment, how neat and the kind of environment is key to it. One of the things that the law is very sensitive to, again, when it has to do with drug-related business, is storage.
Storage, okay, yeah.
Storage,
yeah.
You know. And most and you know what our country is like. So who will be able in that market to have a power generation that keep certain storage condition
cool,
yeah. You know, that's one of it. Two, overcrowding is also an issue. It's expected that places where this kind of regulated business are done, the crowd is not supposed to be something that you cannot manage, you know. So clearly, overcrowding, storage condition, environment, how neat can that environment be, really, especially given to our open market that we have in Nigeria. So these are the issues, and that's why it's pretty difficult. And the law saw this much reason forbid any standard or approved pharmacy to exist in an open drug market.
I have seen that most of the raids with the NAFDAC DG and many NAFDAC officials is usually in open markets. Yeah. That's where a lot of those operations take place. So naturally, I can understand why they would target that business in that space. Now, like other trades, people learn them, right? You can serve as an apprentice under a mechanic, and after a while, you become a mechanic. And there are many other, you know, like the Igbo people will take a boy under their wing and train them, and after a few years, the boy is able to exactly
open after the person is
you went through all official business and you try to learn also because that happened a lot. you, or there's no official training, but they served under one Oga that has been doing this business for a long time. And if you say your way is paying you, the person will tell you, do this one. Can you train like that and function optimally in this industry?
The answer is capital no. It's capital no, because drugs are not common drug trade items.
Okay.
These are chemicals. In fact, the least drug you can think of is a poison. In fact, if as common as paracetamol, there are certain level or certain dose you will take, and you have as well committed suicide, you kill yourself because it's going to damage your liver. I mean, as common as paracetamol. I don't want to take it too far. I want to say things that people can relate with. So you find out that the least medicine you think is not something anybody who is not trained should handle, because there is a lot involved. I remember there were some time ago, I think it is 2009 or so, my Pekin saga. That was just a little mix-up of diethyl glycol. It was a contamination of it, and of course several children died out of it. So it's a no, because the knowledge base that you need to function or to do or handle medicine is not what you can get on the apprenticeship. It's a professional course that requires a lot of trainings.
But some of those guys have, will I use the word diagnose? People have gotten solutions from them.
Those are quacks. They are taking a gamble.
No, I'm not arguing, and I'm not speaking for them as to supporting them. But one or two persons have felt something somewhere, and that apprentice who is now Oga has told them, okay, is he doing like this? Is he doing like this? Take this, and they felt relief.
It's just a gamble.
It is
just a gamble.
It is a calculated gamble. It is a gamble with a small margin for error, because
it's a gamble.
It's a good gamble if you
think the person is trying, he doesn't know what else to do. It happened that eventually I went to school, and he has stayed long in my village. He knew me growing up when I visit home during Christmas, So then I had gone to school. I had become a pharmacist. He never knew, and we had an occasion. We were setting up canopy, and I wanted to help. Somehow I had a cut. So quickly, they took me to his place, and I passionately came, got his people, they cleaned. Of course, I understand you need to use spirit. I took that. Yeah. The next thing, he went and mixed this whole thing he used to and say, finish it. I said, no.
Drink it all.
Drink it all. I said, no. He said, why? I said, no. I picked that, and Pislin was there. I said, what's this doing here? And what can you do for me? Of course, then, in all these patent medicine shop, Nova G. So at the end of the day, the man was in shock.
Yeah, because he promised that little promise of yesterday.
Exactly.
Well, who do you think? Why are you challenging?
So when I rejected it, I saw it on his face. He was disappointed.
Yeah.
But later on, I told him, all this while you've not been seeing me. I went to school. I'm not a pharmacist. Jesus.
Oh, wow.
The man almost fainted.
He don't spoil market.
So it's the same thing that ignorantly people went through these things, but by God's grace,
okay,
they are surviving.
We take a break, and when we return, we'll drink it all. Stay with us. info here, about 7,000 shops shut down in illicit drugs. My guess is from the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. You're welcome once again, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take calls very quickly. But before we do that, there has been some pushback to NAFDAC's action. Some people say it is too aggressive, the shutting down affecting lives and businesses. The NAFDAC insist that the damage that they are causing requires not just this, but even more aggressive action. Let's hear from her, and then we talk about the strategies that need to be deployed and the way out of this mess.
We couldn't have done it ourselves without NSA. It is security risk for our country. What BBC showed will break your heart. Young men that have been rendered useless. So what NAFDAC is doing is what NAFDAC is supposed to do. Safeguarding. There is no politics in what we are doing. No politics in what we are doing. Most of the shops are not registered by PCN. PCN registers sites and the people working at the sites. So the rules have been broken right from the beginning. And to see many of these products being in our own... Okay, this is another one. Tramadol, 225. This will fry the brain of anybody.
That's difficult to listen to.
That's very correct.
So, how do these marketers defy the regulators? How are they surviving, thriving? What is not happening? What is wrong? What checks and balances were not made? Why are we here?
All right, I think that part of it is they take advantage of the weak system we have.
Okay.
The regulations need to be a little more supported and strengthened. And you can have all the laws, but if you don't enforce it, it makes no sense. I think that part of I tell you a story. Someone once contacted me. He was having issues trying to be project. I tried to along how I was involved with them. They were quick to begin to mention the still ready mice. So he was saying, I'm one who time. That's what he needs. Unfortunately, not kind back into. So, part problems, one crops is an issue, which is there for everybody's create supply. Take, for instance, is region less than 8 million, and you have the not on application, it's money that they need it. Guess will be. I've not long enough, the government agents. Government to do inform them, be able to do it right. Because of people making people situation who are in the office. It's a combination of a lot of factors.
All right, it's time for you to be a part of the conversation. The questions are: do you buy men from the market? And what measures are you taking to protect yourself from this epidemic? Have you also been a victim of fake drugs? Would like you to share your story. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. You can also send messages to WhatsApp. That's 080-903-06-416. Christian Williams says the high increase of fake products in the state is fast becoming a thing of concern. I think NAFDAC and these guys, that's from Christian, from HA. Oracle, good afternoon one more time. Hirabuchi Splendid commenting from London. He says, our government are really not helping the people. In the UK, the government regulates food and medicine so strictly. Oracle, here you cannot buy regulated medication over the counter. The pharmacies there will tell you the class of the medication you can get over the counter. Doctors can never prescribe your medication without diagnosis. It's so strict, I must say. The fact is that human life is so cheap in Nigeria. The so-called leaders do not treat themselves in the country. Oh, well, you do make a point. Dede calls from Iwofe. Hello, Dede. Good evening.
Yeah, evening.
Good evening. Please go ahead.
Good evening to the guests in your studio.
Thank you, sir.
So I will really thank you for educating us on implications of the fake drugs and that. Very concerned. We are seeing fulfilling the law of the land from the institute. Why do I say so? I traveled to Ariaria last 2 weeks, where we normally walk 10 to 15 minutes to the express and enter motor back to Port. And they blocked open. They still on for the bush shops in India that are dealing on drugs. And I now ask a question to them. I will have to pay 500 naira for car to carry us around. But I ask a question, how and why? will the institutions be sleeping that these people gain ground and they occupy that large of lane in the market, and they didn't know? All of a sudden, it now becomes another issue that the common man is now suffering the negligence of the institutions that are supposed to have taken care of these things before they grow to this level. It's giving us concern. We are suffering over people's crime, and it's not good.
Okay,
that one is about what of my tray here. You're talking about having much hands. There are many in my tray. So how are you people managing? And to even do this in a very coordinated manner that it will not affect the common citizens of this country. You people are punishing us. This decision is punishing us. They're waking up very late.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dede. Now, it's important to know that my guest is the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, not NAFDAC.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure they have their role to play, but he's not with NAFDAC, just so you get that clear. We'll take 2 more calls and then wrap up because we're almost out of time. Clinton from Bori. Hello, Clinton.
Yeah, my brother. Good evening once more.
Good evening.
And good evening to your guest.
Thank you.
Like I said the other day, I support what NAFDAC is doing. It should be a holistic approach towards eradicating fake drugs in Nigeria. It won't be easy. It will be very, very difficult, strenuous, because of the manpower. NAFDAC doesn't have the manpower. NDLA does not have the manpower to drive this exercise. But so to say, the effect is one cannot emphasize. Who's in the education? If your guest says about getting drugs from pharmacy, and they did not come in selling drugs, I believe that there is this organized crime of repackaging that expires to sell make is an organized crime. Can fight to report this incident to the appropriate authorities so that the PM should be brought down to the minimum. I know that the police are culpable in this act because they know those selling fake drugs. And when they buy...
Sam, you get what I want to tell you about this? Let me tell you something.
Okay.
You see this thing? There's no amount of force that will stop this thing.
So what will stop it?
People that are behind this thing, some of them are millionaires. Some have built, they have capacity to regroup again after this thing they are doing now. Me, if I were to suggest, let them carry these people, go and train them. Than to say you want to pursue them. Pursuing them will not stop it because they have been there for years. The thing has gotten, do you know how many shops you are talking about? 11,000. If you talk about 11,000, some of them have four workers, five workers. Calculate them. How many millions of people that are there? So, see, trying to stop these people is not a good one. Anyone you catch, go and train them well. Teach them how to do it well. Than to try to stop them.
But hold on. They are criminals, right? Elomba, they are criminals. While I understand where you're coming from, they have engaged in criminal practices. Oh my, I lost the call. Well, we have 3 minutes on the clock. You have a lot to respond to. Let's start with the last caller. It says, train them.
Train them to become who?
Pharmacists like you now.
That will help. Because when people are educated, they do better. So it's an option. And to also add to what he has said, is kind of an organized crime. And that brings me to what the NAFDAC DG said in terms of stiffer penalties. I totally agree when she proposed death penalty.
Punishment.
Yes. Yeah. Because can I ask you, what's the punishment, what's the penalty for murder?
Life imprisonment or you'll be sentenced to death. Those are the two.
Here, murder is maybe somebody shoots someone and the person is dead. These people poison human beings. So what they do is equivalent to murder. They poison people. So if there are stiffer penalties to these persons in this category, that would tend to discourage people. But can I shock you? Recently, the PCN Act was signed into, I think, in 2022 by Buhari. Before then, the penalty for anyone caught handling fake and adulterated medicine, I think, was something less than either 1,000 naira. But the current one now is 500,000 or 200.
Wait, 1,000 naira before 2022.
It's terrible. So if the laws are stiffer, I think it will deter people from getting involved.
2022 was just 3 years ago.
That's what it was poor.
My goodness.
So currently, what we're looking at is so for me is a combination of factors, and the way to go is both the citizen and the government have a role to play.
All right. Thank you very much. We're down to our last minute, but for the citizen, if to buy medicine, because I know some farmers too, you find some fake products. What are the ways that I can tell that this is legit?
One, registered pharmacy or approved hospital. Okay. These are the places where you have chances of getting a good medicine. 2, if it's a community that you see out there are certain regulations. When you walk in, there should be a license. You have the right to operate. You also have the right to demand to see a pharmacist.
All right.
So these are ways, and of course, NAFDAC measures.
Thank you very much.
We're
out of time.
Thank you very much.
Good day and welcome to today's interview session on radio. I've got guests from Timely Homes and Properties Limited.